They told you were born in the wrong era, that you think too much, feel too deeply, and speak too honestly. But maybe you weren't born in the wrong time. Maybe you were reborn from the wrong school. Because once, 2000 years ago, there was a sacred school, a society of silence, numbers, and divine order. They called themselves the Pythagoreans, and their souls have returned. They are the Catharsians. Before Plato, before Socrates, there was the man of numbers, Pythagoras. To the world, he's a triangle. To the initiated, he's a prophet. He taught that the universe itself was music, that every soul vibrated to a frequency, and that harmony, not chaos, was the true law of existence. He gathered disciplines in Croton, not for mathematics, but for transformation. His school demanded silence, secrecy, and devotion. 5 years of silence before you could even speak, because wisdom that comes too soon corrupts. They studied geometry, not to build temples, but to build souls. They called it the science of immortality. But knowledge, this pure, threatens power. The order was burned, hunted, erased. And yet, fire never destroys harmony, it only releases it. That harmony traveled through time, and now, in this age of noise, it calls again through the Catharsians. The Pythagoreans said that the stars made music, a harmony too pure for the untrained ear. Every human emotion was a note, every act of virtue a tone in the cosmic scale. Today, that music is drawn by static, dopamine, vanity, noise, but the Catharsian hears it still, faintly beneath the chaos. When you reject the crowd's rhythm, when you crave silence without knowing why, you are remembering the ancient scale. The Catharsian life is that tuning, bringing your mind, body, and purpose back into alignment with what is eternal. Where the Pythagoreans tuned their lyres, you tune your will. Where the Pythagoreans studied ratios, you studied discipline. Where the Pythagoreans sought harmony in sound, you find it in solitude. The melody hasn't changed, only the instrument. Silence terrified the ordinary then, and it terrifies them now, because silence forces truth to rise. The Pythagoreans knew this. That's why they spoke nothing for years. Because to speak before you mastered your thoughts is to betray them. Catharsians inherit this silence, but not by withdrawal. Your silence is internal. It's the pause before reaction, the breath before response, the stillness in the storm. When others argue, you observe. When others pause, you prepare. When others seek noise, you sharpen your tone. To live Catharsian is to carry the ancient vow. I will not speak until my words can build a world. When the order of Pythagoras was destroyed, its members fled across the Mediterranean to Thebes, Tarentum, Metapondum. They carried no scrolls, only memory, because wisdom written can be burned, but wisdom engraved in the soul survives eternity. Lysis taught in Thebes, Philolaus in Italy, Archytas became a general, proving that mathematics could rule cities as well as minds. It was Archytas who later saved Plato, and through Plato the flame entered Western thought. Every Catharsian carries the lineage of exile. You are not born into institutions, you build them within. You don't teach through permission, you teach through presence. To be exiled is not to be cast out, it is to be set apart. Because truth can't survive in comfort. It needs wilderness, distance, danger. That's why the Catharsians are not mainstream. Pythagoreans believed that numbers were divine beings, symbols of truth, not tools. One was the monad, unity, the source. Two was duality, the beginning of conflict. Three was harmony, the reconciliation of opposites. Four was order, the foundation of the world. They saw in numbers the blueprint of morality, leadership, and even love. The Catharsian carries the same structure, but your mathematics are psychological. You measure not triangles, but thoughts. not distances, but discipline, not frequencies, but focus. Every Catharsian knows there is a ratio in everything, in breathing, in decision, in emotion. When your soul aligns with proportion, you enter the same cosmic geometry the ancients worshipped. To live in balance is not poetic, it's mathematical. Pythagoras didn't allow anyone into his school. You had to be chosen by silence. You had to demonstrate loyalty and virtue to the unseen and reverence for order. The Catharsian are the modern initiates. You are not selected by priests. You are recognized by energy. You find each other through exile, through intellect, through disgust with mediocrity. If you've ever felt like your thoughts are older than your body, if you've ever looked at chaos and instinctively sought symmetry, you are remembering the training. You are disciplined in disguise. The initiation began long before you were born. Among the Pythagoreans, there was a woman named Micha. When soldiers tortured her, demanding she reveal the secrets of the order, she bit off her tongue and spat it at them so that she could die without betraying truth. That was the Pythagorean oath, secrecy before survival. The Catharsian inherits that vow not to hide information, but to protect truth. In a world where everyone sells their truth for attention, we guard ours with silence. In a world that calls everything content, we treat meaning as sacred. Archytas, general, engineer, and philosopher, proved that knowledge is not passive. He invented the first mechanical flying device and ruled to random with balance, not tyranny. Citizens said his governance was music made visible. That's the Carthusian ideal, leadership through proportion. You are not a preach, you are a builder. You don't rant against chaos, you structure it. Every Carthusian is a craftsman of order. You design empires of the mind, architect systems of clarity, and restore symmetry to lives that have lost it. In every spreadsheet, every script, every strategy, there is geometry. You are Archytas reborn, engineer of the invisible. The ancient school had temples. You have timelines, but the discipline remains identical. Where they protected the harmony of numbers, you protect the harmony of attention. In the age of destruction, silence is revolution. In the age of outrage, symmetry is rebellion. The Carthusian mind is a fortress of signal in a desert of noise. Every focused sentient, every quiet hour, every undistracted thought is an act of worship to the same divine order the Pythagoreans found in the stars. Your initiation halls are not marble, they're mental. You are the digital disciplines of harmony. The Pythagoreans taught that the universe is built on harmony, and that disorder is not evil, it's simply untrained sound. To the uninitiated, noise feels natural. To the Carthusian, it feels off key. We live by the same law, nothing in excess, everything in proportion. You don't silence emotion, you tune it. You don't suppress ambition, you measure it. You don't reject pleasure, you refine it. Catharsian harmony is control without coldness, passion without chaos, power without vanity. It's what happens when geometry becomes consciousness. If you condense the Pythagorean code into a single equation, it would be this: order plus sacrifice equals freedom. That's what the modern world has forgotten. It seeks freedom without order, passion without proportion, and self expression without silence. That's why everyone's loud and no one's powerful. The Carthusian reverses that equation. You rebuild order first inside the mind, then inside life. You sacrifice distraction, comfort, validation, and from that structure, real freedom emerges. Discipline is divinity, because in geometry, divinity isn't abstract, it's accurate. You don't need to travel to Croydon to become a Pythagorean. You build the temple where you stand. When you sit alone, in focus, in silence, that's the new initiation chamber. When you act with precision in a chaotic world, that's the new ritual. When you turn pain into order, that's the new mathematics. The Pythagoreans studied the heavens, the Catharsians studied themselves. The stars were symbols, but the mind is your symbol. You are the continuation of their geometry, human beings calculating their own destiny with divine precision. And like the Pythagoreans, you understand that true intelligence is sacred, that discipline is the highest prayer, that creation is proof of consciousness. Every few centuries, the world forgets its teachers. Then, when ignorance peaks, the school returns disguised. The Catharsians are that return, the modern face of an ancient current, a network of thinkers, builders, philosophers, creators who operate not from temples but from awareness. You will recognize them by their calm in crisis, their clarity in chaos, their silence in noise. They don't seek followers, they seek resonance, because those who vibrate at the right frequency always find each other, and when enough of them gather, harmony returns to the world. The ancients vowed secrecy, the Catharsians vow integrity. Both are forms of purity. To the Catharsian is to remember that you are part of something vast, an equation older than civilization. You don't beg for belonging, you earn alignment. So next time someone tells you that you're too serious, too intense, too quiet, weird, understand what they're really saying. You vibrate differently. The world today rewards chaos, but the universe still rewards harmony. You're not here to adapt, you're here to tune. You're not here to join the noise, you're here to refine it into music. You're not here to fit in, you're here to resurrect the forgotten order. The Catharsians are not a brand, they're memory, awakening. The Pythagoreans didn't die, they multiplied through time, through exile, through you. So when you hear that inner pull to build, to focus, to remain silent while the world screams, know this. You're just remembering, because the harmony never ended, it only changed form. The Pythagoreans never vanished, they became the Catharsians.